Okay, so we have taken a tour of the church itself. Now it's time to take a tour of the graveyard itself and to see into the history of the individuals who were buried here at this church. Some of the graves are very old, so we'll be looking way back as long as there's something there to read. All right, so let's now go and start do some reading of these graves to learn about the history. History is important. History is very important. So let's begin. All right, so I'm starting with the first grave that I come across as I enter into the graveyard. And here we are looking at the grave of a lady. It says, "In loving memory of our dear beloved mother, Mistress Grace Sharp." Grace Sharp, born the 5 of the 1, 1899, and died the 29 of the 10, 1990. And they go on to say, "Rest in peace. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and let my cry come unto thee." Psalms 102, verse 1. So this is the grave of Mistress Grace Sharp, 1899 to 1990. So if she had lived until 1999, she would have been 100 years old. But that's a long life. At the head of Grace Sharp, we're looking at the grave now of another person. It says, "In loving memory of..." Could it be Darcas? I think it's Darcas. Yeah, Darcas Bial. Yeah, Darcas Bial. Born February 24, 1890. Died July 24, 1991. So she was 101 years old. Darcas Bial. 101-year-old from 1890 to 1991. Some of the graves here are a little difficult to read as I just looked at that one. And you can know it was here for a very long time, but I'm unable to read it. So I'm just gonna keep moving on. This is a huge grave here. There's nothing on it to read. Sturdy headstones are very important for long lasting. Here we are at the resting place of Enid Newell. So it's a "In loving memory of a dear mother and grandmother, Enid Newell." died the 29th of June 1973, age 66. Her grave was way from 1973, and you're able to read it because of the headstone. Well put together headstone, sturdy headstone. 1973 for Enid Newell. And beside Enid Newell, we see Maureen Anderson. So that's Murine, Maureen Anderson. So it says, in loving memory of my dear wife, Maureen Anderson, died the 9th February 1957, age 60. So that's the grave of Maureen Anderson. She died 1957, and of course it said my dear wife. I don't think the husband would still be alive. Your wife died at age 60 in 1957. I'm assuming that Mr. Anderson had also passed away. There's a grave beside Maureen, but there's nothing on it. I'm gonna try to look at the graves in this section first. So let me go up here. This grave was all grilled around, and it says this must be a very old grave. You can see the design of the time, and it stood the test of time. This says, in loving memory of our beloved mother, Mistress Isabel Morel, born the 17th January 1876, died the 28th July 1926. Right, so she was about what, 50? Yeah, she was 50. I wonder how old this church is. I'm not sure if I can find any information. I come here, it's so silent, there's no phone number, nothing. But in 1926, Isabel Morel was being buried here. Her children missing her. I'm sure they are also gone too. This is a grave beside Isabel. That is also an old grave. Old grave. And it says, in loving memory of V.O. Simit, beloved son of Mistress R.D. What's that? Law, Lawe, Law, who died on the 5th of May 1927, age 19. Loving thoughts will always linger around this spot where you are laid. So this was a 19-year-old guy, and he's described as V.O. Smith. And they say that he's the beloved son of Mistress R.D. Law. 19 years old, and this is his grave. It looks a little short for a 19-year-old person, you know. But who knows? You go to a funeral, the caskets always look short, you know. So this is the grave of V.O. Smith, died at 19 in 1927. So his funeral happened the year after Isabel over there, Isabel. And then you have his grave here. And then there's another grave here. There's nothing to read. And then there's another grave here. I'm not sure if the headstone was put in there and it's gone, or if it was to be placed there but never came. But it does look as if it was here and it was taken out, which means that you don't know who was buried here. But this individual probably was buried also in the 1920s, you know. I'm doing the entire section here, right around, because I want to properly, you know, document what's here. So this says, in constant memory of Frida L. Love, died March, what's this? Could this be maybe March 11, 1959? Frida, Freda, Frida Love. That's a way back you died, Frida. March 11, 1959. Wow. This one says, in constant memory of Susan Core. Is that Core? Coore. And the headstone looks similar to Frida over there, but that doesn't mean that they are related. As I go along, I can see another headstone that they could be. I don't know. Besides Susan, and I refer to it as Core. It's Coore. So is that Core? Core? I don't know. Here we are at the grave of Egbert W. Core, same name. Born March 4, 1897, died February 17, 1992. I hope I find something in records that will say. But the three of them here say in constant memory, and the grave, the headstone look very similar. Look at this grave here. This look really nice. This look really nice. A lot of work and money went into this grave, no doubt. You see this piece they put on the top of it? That's very expensive. The headstone is expensive too. It says, in loving memory of devoted wife and mother, Linda Lodge, born July 17, 1920, died May 28, 1972. Rest in peace. So from 1920 to 1972, that means she was 51 years old. Her birthday didn't come yet. Look at this grave over here. Nice design, the way they turn the headstone to the side. Again, I'm not sure if the headstone had come and was removed, or they designed it like that, waiting for the headstone, and who knows, procrastination led to it not being there. But there's nothing on this to read. Over here is another old grave again. Nothing on it to read. This look a little modern. This look a little modern. It's styled. It's styled up. And here it says, in loving memory of Cornelius Macmillan. Cornelius Macmillan. Sunrise June 1, 1904 to sunset March 11, 1985. So he was 83. No. He was 84 years old when he died. Cornelius Macmillan. The Macmillans are known to have money, tend to be ambitious. I've never heard of a poor Macmillan, you know. This also look new, recent. The painting, the design is a recent design. There's nothing about it that looks, like 50 years ago or so on. So let me read it. It says, in loving memory of a dear mother, grand and great grandmother, Doris Eliza Stevenson. So that's Doris Eliza Stevenson. Born June 12, 1915. Died November 10, 2007. And over the other side, it say, God took her home, it was his will, but in our hearts she liveth still. Sadly missed by children, grand and great-grandchildren. This is the grave of Doris Eliza Stevenson. St Bartholomew Anglican Church, here in Frankfield, Clarendon. This is someone who was buried here. It says Margaret, maybe Mackenzie. I don't know. It could be Mackenzie. It's a little rubbed out now. A lot of writing on this, but it looks a little difficult to read. This looked like it was handmade, not a professionally made headstone. They built it and then they used something to mark into it, to write it. So that grave down there, nothing on it again. This grave, you can see they try to make it fancy. It's a recent type of design. You wouldn't see a grave like this back in from the 1930s or anything like that. You can see it. You see graves like this in like some of the modern cemeteries. And then they use some kind of ink, and then they would write on the top of it, and then after a while it rubbed out. You see, I don't even see the name of the individual who's buried here. I see something like the Lord is my shepherd over the other side. So lot of effort was made into trying to give it a design here, but then in terms of the headstone, you could have just purchased a professional headstone rather than this handmade hand ink thing that just doesn't work out in the end. So it's a modern type. So this individual probably died in the 2000 something. You know, this is not an old grave. That one. All right, let's move on. This again, the headstone is missing. Could have been there and was taken out. And here we have a grilled up grave. We have a grilled up grave here. And this says, in loving memory of our parents and grandparents. Let me pull that up. Brenton Willington, December 14, 1917 to October 5, 1994. And Lucille Blanche, March 7, 1924 to September 17, 2000. We say, gone but not forgotten, forever loved. Rest in peace. So what they're saying, that there are two individuals buried inside of this? Is that what they're saying? That there are two individuals buried inside of this? You usually don't see double vault in in churchyard, but if they say so, then that means the both of them probably buried in here. The grave of Brenton Willington and Lucille Blanche. All right, let's continue on. I passed this grave up here, this one, and the headstone, the headpiece is all turned over. It was broken off. I have to see if anything was written under there. So I'm gonna try to lift it up. I'm lifting it up here. All right, I lift it up and I'm looking at it, and it says, in memory of I know there's a Harris. Oh. Oh my God, I'm using my hand now, but what am I gonna use? I didn't. David. So it's David Harris. Yeah, hold on. Oh, David. All right, so here it is. In loving memory of David Harris, died the 31st of January, 1937, age 58 years. It's a gone but not forgotten, rest in peace. So this is David Harris, died January the 31st, 1937. And he was age 58. His gravestone is not that hard to fix up, you know. I'm glad I rubbed it off, but look at my hands now. I didn't buy any water with me. I didn't bring any water with me. That's okay. I'll wash my hands off later on. All right, so this is a grave, an old grave. Look at it, an old grave. Ah, as time goes by, even your grave itself perish. It says, fond memory of our dear, could that be Edward? I think it's Edward. Edward Powell died October. Okay, this is 1936. So this is like October 4. Okay, October 4. So October 4, 1936. Gone but not forgotten. So this is Edward Powell. Edward Powell died October 4, 1936. This is your grave now, Edward. 1936, that's a long time ago. It's now 2025. 2025, 11 years time, and it will be 100 years since Edward Powell died there. This don't look that old. This one says, in loving memory of a dear daughter, Marcia A. White, died July 23, 1974, age 15. Wow, she was just 15 years old when she died in 1974. Marcia A. White. The grave of a 15-year-old girl. I hope I'll find out what her record is and what happened to Marcia. Marcia would probably be a grandmother right now if she had survived, and not died that young. Got this grave. Nice design. Over time, you can see here has broken off. Let me find out who this individual was. There are several graves designed like this. Remember that grave of that young man, 19-year-old? And here is another grave, and there's another one over there designed like this one. So let's find out who this grave belongs to. This say, in loving memory of Josephine Grant. Josephine Grant died the 22nd of June, 1947, age 65. The grave of Josephine Grant. She was 65 in 1947 when she died. Besides Josephine, don't you just love the name Josephine? Besides Josephine here, immediately we know this is an old type of grave. They hardly design graves like these anymore. So, not sure what that is saying right there, but that means something. That definitely means something. This says, in loving memory of Richard A.E. Grant, beloved husband of J.L.A. Grant. So this is the grave of Richard A.E. Grant. And down here it says died the 12th of January, no, sorry, died the 12th of October 1924, age 46 years. So, in simple terms, this is the grave of Richard A.E. Grant, who died on October 12, 1924, age 46. He was 46 when he died. And you get this type of expensive grave if you're a well-connected man. Look at this grave beside Richard. This appears to be the grave of a child, but you never know. Look at the design of it, the height of it. You know, but it's short. It's short, and that's why I'm saying that it could be the grave of a child. And it's hard to know because from afar I can notice that the epitaph is rubbed off. The epitaph is gone. It's short, so I'm not sure if it's the grave of a child. There's nothing there to read, so let's move on. This is the grave of Elizabeth Martin. It says, in loving memory of Elizabeth Martin, died the 5th April 1936, age 94. And they say a loving mother and friend. Elizabeth Martin, age 94, when she died on April 5, 1936. You live very long, Elizabeth. Congratulations. You know. So one say, in loving memory of our dear mother, Estriana E. Bonick, born April 3, 1908, died February 9, 1972. Estriana. Okay, Estriana, so she died in her 60s. I think that's the police station down there. The Frankfield police station. I can see some old police car down there. Yeah, that's the Frankfield police station. You know, everywhere you go in Jamaica, you see that they are just, you know, people living their lives and building communities. You know, the longer you stay at some place, like if I was born here, it would feel so normal to me here. Okay, so beside Estriana Bonick, we have Marva M. Bonick. Maybe this is her sister. Say, in memory of Marva M. Bonick, born December 4, 1937, died August 29, 1978. So she died after Estriana, because Estriana died in 1972 and Marva died in 1978. They could be sisters. I'm assuming they were sisters. Here is a grave here in grilled up area. It says, in loving memory of a dear mother, Mistress Ada Elliott, born November 20, 1884, died January 14, 1968. So that's from 1884 to 1968. Ada Elliott. Ada Elliott. I wonder what she was like, you know? What was Ada like? Was she a sweet woman? Was she a miserable woman? Was she a religious person? Was she a non-religious person? Beside Ada is this grave, but there's nothing to read on it. So I'm just going to keep moving on. This is the grave of John Barton. In memory of my beloved husband, John Barton, or Barton, some people say Barton, who fell asleep on the 27th of May, 1938, age 33. Wow. So John was young. And it says, my beloved husband. And this is 1938. So I'm sure the wife have also died. Maybe that's her grave, but there's nothing there to read. It's very close to it. So that could have been the grave of the wife, but there's nothing there to read. But I tried to look at the record. Maybe there's a marriage. I could find the marriage record and see who the wife was. So John Barton, who fell asleep on the 27th of May, 1938, age 33 years. So he was born about 1905. He died young, and he was married young. 33 when he got married. Right, so this now says, gonna see what this says. In loving memory of W.T. Edwards, teacher. Wait, so he was a teacher, W.T. Edwards, born the 28th of July, 1868, died the 25th of December, 1943. He died on Christmas Day, 1943. His grave is breaking in, had broken in, but it's a long time ago, 1943. This is the grave of Wilbert A. Rose. He died at age 50 on the 23rd of February 1948. Wilbert A. Rose. This says, in loving memory of our dear mother, Mistress E. No, some people say I should not say mistress. I should say Mrs. But it's a mistress, right? So I'm gonna say mistress. Mistress E. Cameron, born the 8th of the 4th, 1914, died the 18th of the 6th, 1984. Mistress E. Cameron, or Cameron. Cameron or Cameron, right? I saw this grave. I didn't read this one here. It says, in loving memory of Mistress Lena Perrin, Perrin. 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 I've never heard that before. Mistress Lena Perrin, born April 16, 1910, died February 28, 1989. They love you, Lena. You can see that they grill up your grave around, you know, give you a nice headstone. They love you. It's cloudy in the sky right now. It means that rain is gonna fall. Cloudy skies over Frankfield, Clarendon. I think it's the same thing. Absolutely the same thing in St. Elizabeth right now. It's raining in the afternoon. I'm standing here at this grilled around graves. There are 3 of them inside of here. One of them, there's nothing on it to read, but the other 2 has conspicuous headstones, expensive headstones. You can't afford these if you were poor. So I'm gonna read the both of them. And they share the same last name. I'm gonna just zoom them in because I'm not going inside. This place has been grilled around so long, the gate can't open. So this one says, in loving memory of a devoted wife and mother, Caroline Feeney, Feanny. Feeney. All right, I'm just gonna say Feeney. Because some of these people, they probably were not Jamaicans, you know. So Caroline Feeney, who departed this life the 11th July 1970, age 70. So that means she was born in 1800. So she died on July 11, 1970. That's Caroline or Caroline. Caroline Feeney. I'm showing you guys, so even if I don't pronounce it right, at least you're seeing it for yourself. And I believe beside her would be her husband. Let me zoom it up. It says, in loving memory of a devoted father, Nicholas Feeney, or Feeney, who departed this life the 16th of February 1971, age 68. So he was younger than her and he died after her. That's his wife over there. You know. So she died age 70 and he died 1 year after her at age 68. These are people with money because there's no doubt if you are poor, you can't afford these type of headstones. These are expensive headstones. I'm telling you that. Very expensive. Wilmot George Young. Now, normally when you hear the word young, you think of someone who with Chinese descent or a Chinese. So I'm going to assume this is a Chinese man. Wilmot George Young. Doesn't have to be Chinese anyway. Born July 31st, 1911. Died September 30, 1984. May God's richest blessings be with him. The grave of Wilmot George Young. And beside Wilmot, we have the grave of Mistress Charlotte Burke Boris. She was born on October 25, 1890, and she died on October 25, 1987. She died on her birthday. Mistress Charlotte Burke Boris. She died on her birthday. I've heard of cases where individuals died on their birthday. Died on your birthday. What's the odds that you would die on? Not you don't die on your birthday. I mean you died on the celebration of your birth, right? You only have one birthday, and then after that you celebrate the day. But we all know what I mean. She died on her birthday. This is the grave of the Bromfield. This must be cremation. Maybe this is cremation. When I say cremation, I mean urns buried under there. But I don't know. It says Bromfield, sacred to the memory of Thomas R. Bromfield. Let me go up closer. Said sacred to the memory of Thomas R. and the last name would be Bromfield. And he is the husband. It's a husband, father, friend. Born the 23 of the 12, 1909. Died the 21 of the 10, 1994. Then over here is the wife, Daphne A. H. Bromfield. And that's wife, mother, friend. Born the 15 of the 7, 1918. And died the 20 of the 7, 1997. So her husband died in 1994, and she lived on until 1997. So the both of them are either buried here or they're ash. I don't think it's ash. Maybe it's great. It's casket. I don't know. But this is a grave of husband and wife, Thomas and Daphne Bromfield. Beside them, we have the grave of Lara Evans. In loving memory of Lara Evans, born July 8, 1907, died September 27, 1990. There is no death, but through its portal we pass to life eternal, sadly missed by all. Lara Evans. Sound like a very humble woman. Quiet woman. Lara. And maybe this is her husband. Could be. I believe this is Lara's husband. In loving memory of our dear husband and father, Alexander A. Evans, who departed this life the 12th of October, 1983, age 88. Alexander Evans. Likely that he and Lara were husband and wife. Louise Isilda Sharp. Louise Isilda Sharp, 1917 to 1983. Louise Isilda Sharp. Here in the corner here we have Charles Evans. This is the grave of Charles Evans, who was called home on the 30th of April 1965. Could he be the father of Laura? Charles Evans died all the way back in 1965. They came here and I think they gave his grave some updating look, make it look much better. Charles Evans. I'm standing beside the grave of Joseph Washington Richards. The 28th of April, 1908 to the 28th of April, 1985. Charles Washington Richards. He died on his birthday. And beside Charles, up here, you see who is this now? You say, in memory of a devoted husband, father, and grandfather, died on the 4th of the 4th, 1977, and he was born in 1892. And then over here is his wife, say, in loving memory of a devoted mother and grandmother, Alexandrina Gabriel. She was born the 22nd of November 1901 and she died on the 10th of December 1984. So she died some 7 years after her husband over there. So this is Alexandrina Gabriel and her husband. Never heard that last name before. Never heard that last name before. In memory of, oh my God, what's this? Wilhelmina Williams. That's Wilhelmina Williams, granny. Died the 8th of May 1961, age 77. They used to call her granny. She was 77. And beside her is the grave of Mistress Geraldine Lindsay, who died on the 1st of January 1964, age 42. This is the grave of Geraldine Lindsay. She was just 42 years old when she died on the 1st of January 1964. So she lived long enough to see the start of the year 1964. Then she died. Okay, well, I'll look up her record and definitely find out what happened to Geraldine Lindsay. As the year 1964 stepped in, poor Geraldine died. The rain start to due now, are due. So let me see if I can get some more graves read before I have a heavy rain. I think I passed over this. I passed over this. I passed over this. I almost missed it. Let me see. The headstone is still in good condition. Right. It says, in loving memory of our mother, Arabella Martin, 1874 to 1959. That's Arabella Martin. She died a long time. They say our mother, 1950. She died in 1950, 1959. That's a long time. And beside hers, I can't see what that is. There's nothing on that to read. All right. I'm coming to you guys from... Where am I coming to you from? Frankfield, Saint... No, there's no Saint. Frankfield, Clarendon. And I'm standing up here. This grave is up at the pinnacle here. I'm looking down now at the church. It's the first time I've seen a church where the graves are above the church. And I'm looking here at the grave of Jennifer Walker. Say, in loving memory of a dear mother, Jennifer Walker. Sunrise July 10, 1962 to sunset October 7, 2005. Sadly missed by mother, son, grandchildren, sisters, brother, nieces, nephews, other relatives and friends. So she died recently, Jennifer Walker. She died 20 years ago. Or almost 20 years now, just a few months from now. I think I've read this already. So, behind Charles Evans, which I've read, who died on the 30th of April 1965, we have his wife. We have his wife buried here, Lynette Louise Evans. Lynette Louise Evans, widow of Charles C. Evans. She was born September 22, 1921, and she died November 28, 1985. All right. So she was the widow of Charles C. Evans. And Charles C. Evans are buried right there, right there, right there. And she is buried behind him, or at the head of him. This grave say Florence Howe. What's that? Howie? Is that Howie? Florence Howie? She was born on May 6, 1926. Died on September 25, 2007. And there's also her husband, Winston. He died in 2009, so he outlived her. He was born in 1915, which is before her, and he died in 2009 after her. So he born before his wife, he died after her. So this is the grave of Florence and Winston. Is it that the both of them are buried in there? Sherian Sharp, Jimoy, born March 10, 1993, died December 11, 2018. You were young, Jamoy. You were young. They refer to her as a dear daughter, sister, and cousin. So it's Sherian Sharp. Again, this is a young girl that died. This looked like a lot of pancakes put together. Nice design. I saw something like this in Christiana at Christ Church. Was it Christ? Yeah. And then it just like that one, it was hard to read. This one look as if it can read. It says, "In loving memory of our dear daughter and sister, um, Diana Dale McLeod, and died on August 2, 1980. Let me see this grave. This grave, again, it's an old time grave. Again, the expensive type of graves. Say in fond memory. Let me read that again. In fond remembrance of our loving and devoted mother, Christiana. Yeah, that's Christiana. Christiana Mackenzie, born the 19th of July, 1891, died the 3rd of April, 1967. That's the grave here. Tell you, whenever time you see graves like this, is old graves. So that's Christiana Mackenzie. And there's a Mackenzie beside her. So and say, a token in fond remembrance of our loving, devoted husband and father, Josiah Emmanuel Mackenzie, who died on the 15th of September, 1954, age 83 years. So this must have been the husband of Christiana over there, because Christiana died in 1967 and he died in 1954. But they could be related. Marcella Louise Dyke, 1873 to the 29th. Let me read this over again. In loving memory of Marcella Louise Dyke, born the 5th of February 1873, died on the 29th of December 1965. 1873 to 1965, Marcella Dyke. Okay, so this is urn. This is urn. But then there's nothing on it to say whose urn is inside of it. So beside Marcella Louise Dyke, we have Peter James Dyke. I believe this is her husband. Born the 8th of June 1878, died the 21st of August 1966. So he died a year after his wife over there. Yes. He died a year after her. Now take a look at this. This needs some little paint up again, but you can see the design. Lovely design here. Awesome design. I think this grave stands out over all the other graves. Say, in never fading memory of our dear mother, grand and great grandmother, Lillian Eunice Powell. Lillian Eunice Powell. Born February 15, 1897. Died October 18, 1989. So this beautiful grave here, the paint is stripping off, but I'm sure if they come and paint it up again, it's lovely. And it is for Lillian Eunice Powell, 1897 to 1989. So she's here for a while. Someone came here and placed a rose here for this person. They placed a rose here. There are two graves with nothing on them. Don't know whose graves are. Don't know who's buried there. And, all right, this is a Mr. Dunkley. Let me see. No, this is a woman. So this is Leona Pearl Dunkley. 1995, she died. And there's another Dunkley here. Edgar Dunkley, JP, died 1989. And that's his wife over there, Leona Pearl Dunkley. She died in 1995, 6 years after him. Here's another Dunkley. In loving memory of Lascelles Hilton Dunkley, born September 27, 1935, died October 11, 1983. So he's related also to them there. Oh, the rain is doing now. I think the rain is starting now. All right. Joseph Wesley Elliston, JP. So he was a justice of the peace. He was born March 24, 1917, and he died on January 20, 1990. Joseph Wesley Elliston. He was a justice of the peace. Beside Joseph Wesley Elliston, we have Iselin M. Cameron, 17 of the 8th, 1928 to the 29 of the 7th, 2010. Iselin M. Cameron. I think you probably have to be a member of this church to be buried here. So I assume Iselin would be a member, right? This is the grave of Manley Richard Stevenson. Born January 9, 1915. Died August 3, 2007. Manley Richard Stevenson. I wonder what Mr. Manley Stevenson was like. I know some of you watching probably knew him. Well, of course you would have known him. It's not that a long time ago. This grave doesn't have anything on it to read. So we have two graves leave. Two graves. Errol Marston Brown. Errol Brown. December 16, 1956 to January 27, 2020. So that's 1956 to 2020. Errol Brown. Beside Errol, we have the only grave here with a picture. The last one I'm reading is the only grave here with a picture. And such a nice picture of this young lady here. Oh, what happened to you? Say, in loving memory of a dear beloved mother and grandmother. Oh, grandmother. Elaine P. Daly. Is that Daly or Dally? Elaine. Sunrise the 25th of the 1, 1959 to sunset the 6th of the 5, 2020. So she was buried in the same year as Errol Brown. Errol Brown buried some months before her. But the only grave here with a picture, and such a nice way to end it. You know, beautiful picture there. Lovely picture. Alright guys, so this has been my tour of St Bartholomew Anglican Church here in Frankfield, Clarendon. And the rain is starting. The rain is starting at the right time. When I've finished read all these graves, and now must find my way from up here back down to the road. Thank you so much for watching. Without you, this channel would not be a success. So thank you very much for watching. Your views, your comments keep me motivated to continue to cover the historical places and things here in Jamaica. I look forward again to seeing you in another interesting video like this. I am Nigel D. Salmon. Until next time.